Hello everyone. I was actually looking for a good topic to discuss out as it has actually been a lot of time since I recorded a video, and I was trying to look for different things. There have been a lot of topics which I have wanted to talk about, and especially in the investment domain. So today I'm sticking to how to choose a good mutual fund for your portfolio. uh, Common people generally do invest in mutual funds only. They do not go for avenues like shares or derivatives. Probably I'll try to make separate videos on that as well. But since I have to address the masses through this video, I'll just stick to the mutual fund as of now. So we in fact, a lot of us keep getting this question: how to choose a good mutual fund? We have discussions with our friends. They are like, "Bhai, कोई अच्छा म्यूचुअल फंड बता दे एंड कौन सा अच्छा होगा जो मेरे को इतना रिटर्न इस टाइम पे दे देगा." So I'll be addressing all of that. First of all, the first tip that I can give you while you invest in mutual funds: do not follow word of mouth. So you may know a lot of people who would just suggest you that this mutual fund is good. I have been investing in it since a long time, and you can also invest and you'll get a good return. A lot of people try to, stick to shortcuts, and they don't want to get into the research and everything, the all the financial elements and everything. So they just try sticking to asking people about what should be a good mutual fund, and then they just end up investing. And probably it's not like we all are humans, right? Nobody's God. Nobody can predict what can actually happen. People can give advice, but it should be a competent and trustworthy advice, as it should be for any advice. So it should, if that regret element you need to avoid by you being the sole person who decides on what mode or what avenues you are sticking to. So that is why, firstly, please don't follow word of mouth. I'll just explain more prominently what I'm talking about. Second point is, a lot of people go to mutual fund websites and see the star rating of the mutual fund, like search for like top 10 mutual funds in 2022, top 10 mutual funds in 2021. I'm like, you're not supposed to do it like that. I mean, anybody can do that, right? If you want the competent and trustworthy information, like Google cannot provide you that. You have to dig into it, and if you want to make money, if you want to make good use out of the funds that you have to get into a little bit of hard work. So Google just won't help. It just will give you suggestions, or probably more of like, who get their thing posted, like where a search engine optimization is there. So who get it done first, probably that will display, and you will end up getting the wrong information. So do not follow a star rating. I'll tell you one more prominent example why I feel you should not follow the star rating is because if a mutual fund, let's say there's an XYZ mutual fund, people see the star rating and start investing their money into it. So more and more people put in money. Let's say there are a lot of people who are not financially literate, and they are like, but they know they have to invest in mutual funds. They have to make investments. So what they do is they go to the website, they see star ratings, and there are n number of people, infinite number of people in a day who are Googling and, finding out such mutual funds. And then what they do is they just go to the appropriate website and start investing. Or probably if they have a demat account, they can invest through that. So what is happening? The assets under, so there's a term called AUM, which stands for assets under management. So the amount of money which is held by a fund, like the amount of money which is gathered by the fund from the investors for investment purpose. Let's say I'm XYZ mutual fund, and there are a lot of people, they have given me 1 lakh rupees. So 1 lakh rupee, the amount given to me, the fund from the investors, is the assets that I'm managing. So what happens is, following the star rating, everybody is into the herd, and everybody tries to invest in one mutual fund, and the assets under management increase. Now think from a human point of view. If we talk about general people as well, if there is a little bit of workload increase, unless and until you are a fabulous multitasker, which a lot of people will agree that a lot of people are not good multitaskers. So if the assets under, this is my mentality. I'm not saying it is necessarily correct. If you think it is appropriate, you can actually go ahead by taking the advice. So the AUM, assets under management, increase as and when people follow the star rating and start investing into a particular type of fund. So the fund manager is overloaded. The fund manager is overloaded with the amount of money, and of course, managing more and more amount of money is a tedious task, and sometimes there is scope of mistake. You end up not properly allocating or utilizing that amount of money, which won't be there if the asset under management is in a good proportion. Let's say, for example, what I consider, what as per my knowledge, I consider for large cap, it has to be less than equal to 5,000 CR, and for a mid cap, it should be something less than equal to 2,000 crore. So if the assets under management are this much, this is properly utilizable given the kind of exposure, given the kind of experience a particular fund manager has. But obviously, a very prominent disclaimer, I'm not trying to demean anybody. Anybody can be capable of managing it, but you have to stick to the safe side. You have to think about other factors. You have to think about human biases as well when you talk about all of these. So yeah, this is something which has to be considered. Like, if a lot of people follow the star rating, a lot of people start investing into it, the assets under management will increase, and it will be a burden on the fund manager, and therefore there is scope of something, which can not go well. That is what I was trying to make you understand. Next thing. People, what they do is, a lot of people who like reading charts, technical charts, or historical or performance charts, as a matter of fact. So people who have the habit of going through technical charts and performance charts, they go through the 1 year, 5-year history. They're like, 5 years, this and this return, wow, very nice. It will probably keep on going. So to make that analysis, to come to jump up to that inference is absolutely not justified. But yeah, it's not like you are not supposed to do that. You have to go through the historical performance to actually have an idea how the fund is performing. So what you can do is a very safer side than just going through the 5 or 10-year returns. What you can do is go through last 15 years of performance. And if any fund is, let's say, example, not existing for 15 years, then you have to take from the period it's existing only for 7 years. So take it for 7 years and from that period till now, and see how it has performed. But if there are funds which have been performing for more than 15 years or exactly 15 years, take that period at least, and don't just see return. See factors like ranking should be among top 25%. Let's say if there are 100 large cap, if I'm talking about large cap fund, and there are a lot of large cap, let's say 100 large cap funds, my fund which I'm trying to analyze, if it is there for 15 years or whatever amount of time it is there, it should be amongst the top 25 funds, not just top 5 or top 10. So you can smell consistency throughout. If it is there for 15 years in the top 25, there is a proper allocation and proper optimum utilization of the fund resources, and the risk and return elements are also absolutely well placed. So that can, still give you a reasonable assurance as to what, if you can actually put up a conclusion, if this fund is something which is worth investing. So, let's say if there are 70 funds, then it should be amongst 25% of 70, 17.5 roughly, let's say amongst top 17. If it's 100, top 25 funds. So this is something which also has to be considered. Number 4, fund manager characteristics. A lot of times we hear people, अरे ये fund का तो ये fund manager है, 100% awesome performance. So basically, 100% awesome performance, when we say, we do not consider a few things. Let's say, if I am to talk about the fact that 10 years ago, the fund manager was a different person, correct? So we have to see that even now, it is the same fund manager, uh, because we are trying to analyze the performance of a fund manager who was there prevalent earlier. A lot of people don't just see who the current fund manager is. They just have the notion that this fund manager has been having this fund has been having this fund manager, and so he will continue. He has a going concern probably. So you need to analyze that how a particular fund manager who was there at some point of time in previous years managed the fund. Obviously, he might have performed well, but the fund remains the same. A fund manager can obviously change, right? So obviously it has to be analyzed if it is the same fund manager, and then you can accordingly, it is very subjective to actually judge if a fund manager is good or not. A lot of people see the qualifications, but I don't think qualification is something which can actually make you, believe that the fund manager is an appropriate person. So this is one thing which I had to discuss, the fund manager characteristics. And the fifth one is risk and return alignment. So let's say generally large cap funds are believed to have lower risk. I'll just note it down. Large cap, lower risk, and mid cap, higher risk. So what a lot of people try to do is that, let's say a large cap fund is offering a return of 20%, and a mid cap fund is offering a return of 21%. Now a lot of people think जिसमें ज़्यादा उसमें invest करना, 21% to 21% में करो. But then obviously we all know that higher the risk, the higher the risk, higher the return, and lower the risk, lower the return. I mean, it's just a basic notion. It can be otherwise if the performance is exceptionally well. So I personally would not put myself into the classification of a risk averse investor, but if I have the option of, let's say, choosing between a large cap fund which is giving a 21% return and a mid cap fund which is offering a 20% return, the large cap fund offering 20% return and mid cap fund offering 21% return, just to earn that extra 1%, I would definitely look into what classification that fund is into. A lot of people just go by the name. They don't see if it's a large cap fund, it's a small cap fund. They don't do that risk classification thing. So just to earn that 1% extra, I would not want to take extra risk. I will be more contented and satisfied to take 20% return, 1% return less, so that I at least know that I have some chances of the risk minimization. So this is something which I believe should be kept in my way of investing. Also, these are just the very general points which at a very grassroots level any layman can understand. There are other considerations as well, but as of now, I think this, if kept in mind, you are on the right path and you on the right track, and you will always end up making the correct decision. I wouldn't say always, but most of the times you'll end up making the correct decision. Obviously, more better situation than what you have already right now, with no idea of how to go about it and just following word of mouth or doing Google about top 10 mutual funds or things. So, and I would definitely come up with more videos. A lot of people do not want to actually invest in other investment modes like shares and derivatives, and so they had this thing that if somebody could guide is how to go about a good mutual fund. So I thought I'll just record a video on that, but I'll definitely be coming up with more videos on even if somebody wants to invest in shares. So mutual fund is nothing but indirectly investing into shares, that you have experts managing your money, they invest in shares. So I'll also come up with videos regarding shares and derivatives if that can be helpful to you guys. So thank you very much. Keeping it till here only. I hope you guys have a great year ahead, given the fact already 1 month has almost passed. You have 11 months, so make the best out of it. Thank you so much for sticking till the end of the video.